We have a major problem going on in our school district right now, and it's up to both me and you to fix it. What's up guys, this is Colton Finley. Today we'll be talking about the huge population boom we're seeing in our schools and how it's affecting not only Conroe, but our school district and the rest of the Montgomery County. I'm going to be breaking down the most recent demographic study, going over why it's important to understand why we are growing and how we are growing, and the best way to accommodate that growth to make sure that these kids receive the best education we can give them. Not only will this growth be affecting generations to come, but this is also super important to everyone to know because this is a voting year and it'll be in our next election. And a full disclaimer, I am a member of the Conroe ISD Bond Planning Committee this year, and I'll be relaying all this information that I've learned to pass on to you guys to help make sure that you make the best decision, not only as a taxpayer, but also as a voter. Now, as many of you may know, at the end of this year, we're going to be voting on a bond package that is currently being put together by the Conroe ISD Bond Planning Committee. And for those of you who don't know exactly what a bond is, so when you're voting on a school district bond, you're basically voting on whether to authorize the school district to issue bonds to fund projects such as renovations, school facility upgrades, acquisition of equipment and technology, and just a bunch of schools would need to improve their tools and what they have. And sometimes school districts may not have enough funds in their M&O budget to pay for these capital projects, so what they'll do is they'll issue bonds to borrow money to finance them. And bonds are usually repaid over a period of years with interest using funds generated through the property taxes. In essence, when you vote on a school bond, you are giving the school district permission to borrow money to fund these projects. And if the bond is approved, the property taxes may increase to pay for the bond, but the school district will have the funds needed to make the necessary capital improvements to support the education needs of their students. And you may be asking yourself, how in the heck does the school district even know how to use these funds? Well, the best way for a school district to understand how much money they will need to accommodate all the growth is by having a third-party demographic companies analyze how the community is growing and what factors are contributing to the growth. In this case, our local school district went through a company called PASA. I'll make sure to add a link in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. Without further ado, let's dive right in. As of right now, Conroe ISD is home to over 71,000 students, which is a big increase from the 67,000 in the fall of 2022 when this study was done, indicating a huge demographic shift. Conroe ISD currently ranks as the 5th largest school district in the Houston metro area and the 9th largest in Texas. And as we can see, from the fall of 2016 to the fall of 2021, the district added nearly 8,000 students. And this growth trend continued in 2022 when Conroe ISD coming in second to Katy ISD in terms of student population increase. In fact, the growth has been steady over the past 2 decades. Over a span of 20 years between the early 2000s and 2020, the district added an average of 1,500 to 2,000 students per year. And following Hurricane Harvey, this number increased significantly, with the district doubling this rate of growth. Also, it's worth noting that the increase in enrollment takes into account both new students and those students who have moved away. Now I want to show you where exactly in the community this growth is happening. If you look at this map, you could see that each black dot represents a student from 2019 and 2020 school year and where they resided. The orange dot represents the students in 2020 to 2023. This is actually really helpful because it shows us where the communities are expanding and just within the past couple of years. Now breaking down this next slide, we can see which developments are having the biggest impact on the growth. As you can see, areas of higher residential development are happening on the east side of 45 between 105 and 242. The biggest reason the growth is happening here compared to other areas is because developers are able to get their hands on bigger pieces of land much cheaper compared to areas like Magnolia, Montgomery, and the Woodlands, while also maintaining lower taxes and reasonable commute to Spring or Houston. Master plan communities like Mavera and Ardavia are also huge contributors to the growth. And as you can see here, as we compare people in the Houston metro area compared to the people of Conroe ISD, we can see that the biggest difference is the median income, and the median home value is significantly higher here. Now let's shift our focus to Conroe ISD's student to household ratio. And just what FYI, it's off the charts. We're talking 5 students per 10 single family homes and nearly 3 students per 10 multifamily homes. And compared that to the national average, we're way ahead of the game. The typical U.S. family home houses 0.34 students, or just over 3 students out of every 10, while multifamily houses only 2 students per household, out of every 10. But wait, it gets even crazier. Check out the growth rates by housing type. The vast majority of new developments are in the fancy brand spanking new subdivisions, accounting for a whopping 70% of total growth. Now that's what I call mind-blowing. As we witness this crazy population growth, it's natural to wonder what the underlying forces are driving this expansion. What in the world is contributing to this crazy growth we're seeing? Why are so many families moving here? And most importantly, what is causing my tax rate to shoot up? So what do you think is causing the population boom? Let me know in the comments. Similar to other areas in Texas, Conroe stands out as a top destination for businesses due to its attractive tax incentives, lower costs, and a welcoming business environment, all of which pave the way for substantial growth opportunities. Places like Dyson Technology Park, Woodlands Town Center, and Conroe Park North are exceptional places for businesses to relocate and still be affordable. Now, a lot of you may be wondering, since the real estate market is slowing down, is it slowing growth here in Conroe? The short answer is no. Even though it is more expensive to buy a house now than it was a year ago, that is not stopping people from moving here. At the end of the day, this area is still underpriced and undervalued compared to the rest of the country. This is still a premier destination for people moving from another state or country because it's still reasonably affordable, warm, friendly, for businesses rapidly growing. As businesses bring their families and employees with them, it's important to understand what housing projects will be in place to support the growth. PASA foresees a significant surge in construction with the new single-family homes over the next decade, with over 35,000 single-family housing projects to be built, accounting for nearly 70% of all new housing developments. And the remaining housing projects are expected to be a mix of manufactured or multifamily housing such as apartments, duplexes, triplexes, or even quadruplexes, making up approximately 23.5% of all future housing units. Interestingly enough, the majority of these multifamily housing units will be located in specific areas. If you're wondering what to expect in terms of new home construction over the next decade, take a look at this chart breakdown of the numbers. The growth is coming and we're not stopping it. The growth that we're projected to see over the next 10 years is projected to be higher than the growth that we have ever seen before. If we look at the projected closings for the next 10 years, they are higher than they have been in 2019, 2020, and 2021. So now that we have seen where the growth is happening, why the growth is happening, let's see how this will affect our student population. This is the growth rate we're expected to see at a moderate level over the next 10 years. As you can see, it's pretty consistent growth between 2,000 and 3,000 students. However, if we look at the past demographic studies, we have always exceeded growth expectations, and to be honest with you, we're expected to continue this trend for the next 10 years or more. Here are 3 different growth scenarios put together by PASA to help us get a good idea on the population range. Guys, if we reach 120,000 students in the next 10 years, which I think we're going to get severely close to it, we're going to be really overcrowded unless we do something about it. As of right now, we're currently over capacity at most of our schools and will continue to be that way for the next several years no matter what will be going on in the next bond package. This is a huge deal, and I hope you guys are paying attention because this is not only going to affect your lives, but it will also affect the lives of your children, your neighbors, and your family for generations to come. And as you can see on this next slide, every single year we end up growing at a faster pace than the high projections suggest, so there's no doubt in my mind that we'll continue to do this. When it comes to long-range planning, it's essential to have a clear understanding of where in our schools the growth is expected to occur. According to this study, the largest growth areas for elementary students over the next decade will be on the east side of town, with San Jacinto, Milam, Austin, and Patterson Elementary projected to see the most significant increase in student enrollment. And as we turn to the next slide, you'll see a comparison of these projections with our current capacity. It's hard to miss the striking amount of red and yellow on this slide, indicating areas where capacity is already exceeded. It's clear that we must take proactive steps to address this imminent issue and ensure that we have the infrastructure in place to accommodate our growing population. Now, looking at intermediate schools, most of the growth is expected on the east side with some hotspots towards 105 West and Grand Oaks. Now, the intermediate schools have a little more breathing room than the elementary, but not by much. Schools like Grangerland, Bozeman, and Clark are already experiencing overcrowding. And when it comes to our junior high schools, it's the same situation. High growth on the east side, 105 West, and also at Grand Oaks feeders. This time, every school is overcrowded after the year 2025, according to PASA. And anyone can guess how much room we have in our high schools. Not much. It's continuing to grow all across the board, with the majority of it stemming from Conroe, Caney Creek, and Grand Oaks. Based on the latest data from both our own research and that of PASA, it's clear that we can expect a huge growth for our school district and our local communities over the next decade. This growth is poised to bring substantial economic and demographic changes, cementing Conroe's position as a major player in the region. And for those of you who don't already know, Conroe has recently recognized as the 6th fastest growing city in the entire country for both economic and population expansion in 2022. This impressive achievement further underscores the immense potential for our region and the exciting times ahead. As you prepare to vote on the upcoming bond package proposed by the Bond Planning Committee in November, it's essential to have a clear understanding of the district's needs over the next 4 to 5 years to support our rapidly expanding community. Our primary goal is to ensure that every student has access to the resources, tools, and support that they need to receive the best possible education from our district. And to gain a deeper understanding of our district's performance and offerings, please take a moment to watch this video provided here. If you found this video informative and useful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest happenings in Conroe and Montgomery County's school district and community. If you have any burning questions about the topics covered here today, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help and provide you with knowledge so you can make the best informed decisions. So let's work together and to ensure our community and schools continue to thrive.